Boy, that was a gap. Um, I was lying down because there's a lot. I've been yawning a lot today because of the day. I, Tomorrow's day 7, Wednesday, and so that. Remember, I mentioned about federal judge Boasberg recall those numbers, the numbers, the allocation numbers, the electrical transaction, the return flow from where is it, El Salvador, that prison complex cage, the spiritual torture chamber programs. And so I was just lying down just to be calm, just be calm, just be calm. And then I decided, just there's so much just comes to me. And years ago, as therapy, okay, I used to have stacks of blank spiral lined paper binders, and I just start writing, and I had stacks and stacks and stacks of them, because you're spinning so fast, because you're learning so fast. And that's why when I was 4 years of age, I was on fire to learn. I was on fire to create, because I'm learning through the first eternal sun, which is the still point of a true vacuum. Hamana Waya, so I know what I am. And so that's always restoration. That's always recall, recalibrate, recalibrate. And so it would be analogous to say that I am an eternal learner and an eternal teacher at the same moment, at the completion of a circle of fire, a rainbow. So I'm always on fire to learn, because there's always something new to experience. That's the unknown. Unknown knowns. So you know the one, the eternal one, which is the one I serve. So I know the one I'm learning through. I'm learning through the highest rate of speed, which is pre-light, which is the first sun, which is the first light field, which is the first electric field. Join together as one to experience being one, which is breathing as one with the core. That's what I am. That's Imana. So what I share is, I obviously I can't share everything that I'm experiencing as a result of that speed on this phone, because the phone, that system, is a slowpoke, because it's a machine. It's not a spirit. It's not the eternal spirit of fire. It is not the grand cathedral. The grand crystal cathedral is the grand creator spirit, which is pure, eternal, absolute love. On fire to create a universe, the Unisci, the point of all union. That's Imana. That's elemental union. Playing music that goes on forever, which is what love is, which are love songs. The song of Aurora. So I wrote a few things down here, because, see, the folks that work in intelligence agencies, they know what a map reader is, and they know what a clock is, and they know what a sound recorder is. So a cell is a clock, and a cell is a sound recorder, like a cell membrane. The speed of the cell, the speed of the sound recording, which is the speed of the clock. So you zeroed all your clocks, and what do you have left? 0, which is no time. And that's 0 degrees. That is the absolute center point, which is the 13th mother arc. That's a silver gold-mated one, the first magnetic compass. And what is a compass used for? Use basic logic, navigation, a navigation tool, like a builder's tool, and learning how to rebuild something that breaks, right? And that is called the circulation speed, which is the form and flow of what? Water. So I wrote a few things down here just a few minutes ago, because I want to go back and lie down, and I'll just let this load. I'll just go plug it into the wall socket, and then go lie down, turn this light off, and I'll just be calm. So I'll share with you what I wrote. Oh yeah, I used to have, years ago, when everybody was sharing files, because all the files are open, the cosmic records are open, yeah. And so I started putting together bibliographies, and they were getting to be way too long, like 126 pages. That's just way too many resources. How long would it take me to map read all that and learn everything that you're sharing with me that you've already read? I know. And that is why it's an eternal gift, which is an eternal blessing. And I'm eternally grateful for the one I am, which is the one I serve, which is the first eye, the first camera, the first rainbow. So I wrote this down a few minutes ago. Oh yeah. I tried to review some movies that I've seen since my early childhood, um, and I listed ones that if you wanted to put a puzzle maze together and map read something pretty fast to see how the mathematics works with a gaming table, a mathematical gaming table, a spiritual torture chamber program, the machines. These are some resources that I map read a long time ago, particularly 1927 Fritz Lang's Metropolis. That's a what we call a dead giveaway, like a dead end street, right? Metatronic, death science, mathematics is really what it is. Blade Runner, of course, they made a couple of versions of Blade Runners. I saw the latest one they did. I think I did a video about they did a movie about super soldiers and native tribe. I shared with you what happened with that. Super soldier had rescued a woman, a female tribe, a member of a tribe, the Tryon field, and yet the hierarchy, the command structure of the super soldiers wanted her to be terminated, and he refused to do that. Okay, so now he's on the run. Now he's a Blade Runner. Now he's running away. Now they're going to target him. Okay. And so they disclose all this through movies, classified ads. You'd be surprised where you can find information when you're being communicated. And you can get a silent transmission on where to look. And now you know where to go to find the information. Okay, that's called silent running, which is Golden Fire. That's a Guardian network, the Golden Fleece Network, the Rainbow Network, the first Rainbow Network, the first platform, the first communication platform, the first cosmic platform, the first sun, the one I serve, is letting me know where to go. Okay, to find it right on time. That's God's source. That's the eternal seed atom source communicating with me. And so these are some of the movies, particularly the movie 1961 Failsafe. Just you don't have to watch the whole movie. All you have to do is go watch the last 8 minutes of it. Save yourself some time. Where you have a NORAD general telling a senator, a politician, we let the machines get away with mass murder. Bang, there's your answer. Okay, and then of course you had War Games. I believe it was made in the early 1980s. Remember Ferris Bueller, that funny movie called Ferris Bueller's Days Off? Okay, where he was playing games with the principal, and then he played in that movie called War Games. And if you've ever seen War Games, and if you remember who President Ronald Reagan is, President Ronald Reagan initiated a program that I was map reading, which was the Navstar program at Seal Beach, where they had Satellite Systems Command, right? And then they have Satellite Systems Command, and then they had the Space Shuttle Command up and down. And I worked at all three facilities. So these are not mathematical coincidences when it comes to map reading, mathematical holograms, and the speed at which you're doing that, how they built it. And then, and then one I saw not that long ago is called The Imitation Game. Mr. Turing, he built a machine and cracked the Enigma, and that was a Nazi SS messaging machine, hacking their email, hacking their messages for British Secret Services. And then, of course, you have Minority Report. That's a big one. And then, of course, Terminator, Rise of the Machines, Judgment Day. Okay, so that's sort of a short list. Okay, and then where are the other ones here? Oh yeah, audiovisual documentaries of disclosure. Well, another big one is Avatar, Cyber Wars, Headhunters. You know, oh yeah, remember the day the Earth stood still when they talked about robots are basically your security system? Okay, they disclosed that in the 1950s. And then, of course, you have number 11, Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. Another great book where Terence McKenna, who did a shamanic journey, went down to the Amazon to learn through the tribes down there, and then hooked up with a mathematician who ran a visual mathematical laboratory at University of California, Santa Cruz. What's his name? Ralph Abrams. And a big morphogenetic scientist guy, Rupert Sheldrake. So all three of those guys got together along with Bruce Lipton, who did stem cell research. So he knows a lot about cell membranes. And so Terence wrote a book called The End of History and the Rebirth of God, Mama. And if you go to see page 144. Now in that book, he publishes the hex table. I call it the hex nut. That's 6, right? 666, beast. And blank slate memory white PV screens. And then, of course, you have iRobot, which is I Ching, the Book of Changes. That's the hex knot. Now, I tried to see if that book was still available on the Internet Wayback Machine archive, and it wasn't available. Why? That's self-evident, like self-evident. I have a copy of it in my library, and I've shared it with a couple other people. And that is a big eye-opener. Remember, eyes wide shut. And so yeah. So I'm gonna take a nap. So I hope that you all are feeling better. Be kind to yourself, please. You know, especially around our children. We are one. Start nurturing yourself. Communicating with your living cells. Living cells are alive. They're clocks. They're map readers. And start communicating with your clocks and your living cells. They're working for us. The elementals are working for us. Living self-aware cells are aware of you. And you're aware of your cells. And when you begin communicating directly with your cells, you begin to heal yourself on your own. That's what I do. And it works. I wish I had the video to show you when I got back from the island of Kauai. The whole front of my battery packs were black and blue because of just massive overload of just what I call assimilation codes, like shadow body codes, wanting to just hijack your vehicle, right? And consume you, right? Take you down. That's really what it boils down to. The machine just wants to take you down. It's massive overload, and that's where burn time comes in. You got to be faster than that. You got to burn it off, 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 burn out. Restore your light, restore your speed, restore your electrical power, your life force. The eternal sun will burn it off. So the one I serve is the one that burns it off for me. Because I'm always with the one. I'm always with the eternal sun. Because that's the one I serve. That's Imano Aya. And it took me 3 cycles to do that. And that's an eternal gift. That's the Tryon field. Yeah. So we love you all, equally sharing what I am, which is what love is. That's the law. The law of spheres, the law of balance, the law of rainbows. Ita Ushale Aya. Imanu Aya, Zalukale Aya, to all of you.